and she's here to give us some great inspiration. My beautiful friend Sheryl. Let's give it up for Sheryl!
Hey, you guys. Wow, there's a lot of you. I'm very thankful to be up here speaking to you. I crafted this talk with a book that I have coming out in mind. So it's called In the Darkness, I Find My Light. That's not the name of the book, but it's the core message. So the story goes back 15 years ago. I was 28 and I got pregnant. The impregnator left, and I had always been really independent. I was living on my own, but the support from family wasn't really there, and I was kind of like, I'm really in a mess, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do. So went to a shrine, was trying to find some kind of guidance. Was led to a woman who kind of talked to women that were pregnant. Long story short, I end up living in a shelter, a Christian-run shelter in Quincy, Mass.
So none of you are ever allowed to say long story short, okay? Because we want to tell a story. So how did you go from getting pregnant to ending up in the shelter?
Okay, good question. So basically, the person that I had been dating, he just got out of the picture. And my family would have been like, get rid of the problem. And so I kind of I drove up to La Salette Shrine in Attleboro, Mass, and I talked to a priest. And I kind of just wanted to be where I didn't know anyone because of the situation I was in. And he's the one that referred me to this lady who I went to speak to. And then she had kind of, understanding my situation, said, there's a Christian-run shelter. And never in my wildest dreams did I think a shelter would be part of my story, because in my mind it was for people like really down and out or using the system, and I wasn't like that. But I was definitely in a place where I was just like, I needed help. So I went to see the shelter, and I don't know what it was, but I felt a peace there. So I gave up my apartment, I gave up my car, and my 2 jobs.
How nice was that story? You just long story shorted a really nice story.
So no more long story short.
No, that was beautiful. Like, and you said it in such a relaxed way, like you were just telling your friend at breakfast the story, which was gorgeous.
You are my friends.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
keep going. Yeah.
above the shelter, there was a chapel. And every morning, I've been doing Pilates forever. So every morning, I'd still wake up at 5 in the morning and go up to chapel by myself, because I like my alone time. And I would do my Pilates, and I was kind of like, started to pray to God. But it was still like, I had been brought up Catholic, and this God was kind of like, yeah, I'm kind of like, I don't know about you. Anyway, then I get the news. The story gets a little bit of a twist in it. So I have a test. I'm 5 months pregnant now. I have a test, and it comes back that my baby has gastroschisis, which means there's it's like a hole in the belly button. Everybody has it, but it closes up if you're normally developing. In this case, her intestines were outside of her body. Sometimes the liver or other organs can be as well. And the thing is, there's no knowing the severity until the baby's born. So worst case, it's death. Best case, there's a surgery and there's a recovery, and baby goes on to live a normal life. In the situation I was in, my doctor scheduled an abortion, 5 months pregnant. So I'm going to loop this around. The ladies at the shelter were like angels. They loved me, they prayed with me. Had it not been for them, I would have went to a very low place. But these ladies were like, no dude, like, God does miracles. And that's when I realized that was a place, that was a shelter for my spirit. That's what that was. So I went us up, and all this happened. It was like really like who I was gone. I don't know who that was. So I'm up in chapel. I call this my Lieutenant Dan moment, if you've seen the Forrest Gump movie, and he's on top of the ship. And I'm just like, swear to God, like this is, and I'll never forget this. And I was like, you're real, or I'm fucking crazy, but I need a miracle. Show me what you got. That's why when I read that you said that, I was like, yeah, I was there. And this was what cracked me open, because who I was gone. And there was no one to tell me what to do. There was no outside of me to say, this is what you do. This is how you're gonna do this. And I said, I needed something. I needed God. I needed the light in this dark place that no one was gonna save me from. So after my Lieutenant Dan moment, I canceled the abortion appointment. I called my dad back home. This is an example. And he said, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Okay, let's stop here. I do want to hear, did you have a baby?
I did have my baby. Yeah, she was used as a case study. We were in the hospital for just a month. They did the surgery, and she's 14 and beautiful and awesome.
I would have loved to let you get there on your own. I'm sorry I can't, but we got it anyway. And you're gonna have a great full circle moment on that one, girl. Woo! All right, let's go, Sheryl. So first of all, you're brave. First of all, I'm loving this story deeply. I'm loving the ladies. Are they nuns?
No.
They're just like support.
Yeah, it just was like
Yeah, the ladies. Okay.
the ladies.
I love the ladies. All right. You defined the shrine later, but first you said I went to a shrine. Then later you defined it. So you just want to be a lot clearer in the details. Okay. There's a little bit of this. You went from long story short. You stopped that, but then you've done a little bit of like a. Anyway, you need to get your details of your stories down, and if there's things you want to leave out, decide that before you get on the stage. But tell us a story and take us through the journey. And it doesn't have to be every single detail of the story. It could be a very long story that you need to shorten, but don't tell us that you're shortening it. Okay? And there's a lot of ums, which is totally normal, very, very normal when you're first starting out, because the more you beat up this outline, the less ums will be present. Okay? And but there was then you did start to just channel it when you just let go and start talking about God and the light. And just letting the light come into this dark moment, and you really just went deep and just let go, and so you had your ing zone moment today, and this is a good story. What's the core message?
It's really from the dark to the light, and it is why I wrote the book. So.
I'm not really sure I understand what you mean though.
I guess in my blackest darkness was when I cracked open to really receive God and really started asking for wisdom and guidance.
Okay.
In a way I never had. The relationship with God began then.
Okay. Maybe you could be more clear for your audience of we don't have to be afraid of our darkest moments because they're when we can step into the light.
You always say the right thing. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, beautiful work, love.
Mia.
Nice name. Very nice. Very nice. Sweet hand to somebody.